Ever since the coronavirus hit North America in 2020, the government started giving lots of unemployed people money due to the large amount of people losing their jobs. If I were elected to Congress, the first thing I would do is make it a priority to work with no government pay, and only people who truly need the bonus would get it.
37% of small business owners say they've been forced to temporarily close or scale back operations.
Another problem this causes is the government is paying $400 billion more than they have.
Not the only guilty party. The pace of global public debt accumulation has increased by tens of trillions of dollars over the past few years.
Restaurants and businesses alike have lost both employees and customers. Did you have a hard time finding employees after the pandemic?
After the pandemic, yeah, a little bit. I think there was still that kind of fear factor a little bit with, being out in public and the safety of people. But since it's starting to get better, and since we're in a college town, it's a lot easier to find employees. The college kids really need to work.
Do you still have a hard time hiring people?
No, actually, we're pretty good. I think retaining people is a little bit more of the more difficult thing, but actually hiring on a day-to-day basis has been pretty easy.
What is your opinion on people getting paid for not working?
Well, I think that if we think seriously about why people aren't working, that we need to really look at the causes of why people aren't working. But in the interest of having the kind of social order where people are not having to steal to survive, having to rob to make ends meet, having to try to figure out how to eat to keep alive, it's in the nation's best interest or in our common good to provide a basic subsistence to all human beings. I really think that the time has come for a guaranteed annual wage for all people.
In 2020 alone, tens of millions of people lost their jobs.
The less good news is that we still have a massive gap in the labor market. So depending on how you count the counterfactual, like where we would have been if COVID hadn't happened, the gap in the labor market is somewhere between 5 million, 8 million jobs right now. It's just, we are still really far down.
And one of the challenges that some manufacturers have had are building up that workforce. But I think part of the reason for that is that, unfortunately, small and mid-sized manufacturers haven't been as agile as others in adapting to, I think, the new needs of the workforce. Some of that is unavoidable. Like, it's hard to stand up a child care facility in a manufacturing facility. Not impossible, but I think that they've discovered that that's an issue. Or to have flexibility in terms of shifts. That's harder in manufacturing, but I think there are new tools that are making that more possible.
What is your name and what is your job?
My name is Anna Moore. I'm the merch lead at AE, so American Eagle.
Did you have a hard time finding employees after the pandemic?
I wasn't manager at that point, but I personally didn't want to work during the pandemic because I didn't want to get sick, so I can only assume that it was really hard, and that I know that when I did get hired, the pay was a lot higher because they really needed people.
Do you have a hard time hiring people currently?
A little bit. I think it's more to do with people trying to focus on their studies just with our college student area, but it's still a little bit tricky. Like, we had a huge hiring event kind of going on for Black Friday, trying to get holiday stuff covered, so a little bit.
Have you noticed the lack of employees at all?
You're saying?
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen that in a number of situations where the kind of low-paid jobs have trouble attracting workers because they're leaving for higher-paying jobs. So that is an issue that I see in a number of places. Places close down because they can't be staffed, so that's a problem.
What is your opinion on people getting paid for not working? Both for people that can't work and people that don't want to work?
That's really interesting. I think everybody should work who can work. The idea that they should get paid when not working, That's really interesting. I remember reading a study somewhere, and you probably can't use this, but in a country where they gave everybody a minimum wage no matter what happened. And it turned out that was extremely beneficial for the general economy because they had actually more money circulating through the economy. So actually giving people sufficient funds to function meant that they didn't have people who were in dire straits as much. So there's actually, although I don't approve of that concept of people getting paid for nothing, in reality it actually works to improve the economy of that area.
At the end of the day, the Great Resignation has affected many. A lot of people have struggled to find jobs, find employees, and transfer, while others have quit and receive government loans.